Sky Sports. After a disappointing draw with Qarabag in the Champions League in midweek, Enzo Moresca faced criticism from Wayne Rooney over constant rotation of the team itself. It was the fifth consecutive game where Moresca made 7 or more changes to the starting lineup, and Moresca, he doesn't believe it's an issue.
We are in a moment, in an era where anyone can say what they want. It's correct. I completely respect. But I also said after Qarabag game that since I joined the club, it's also my view to rotate player, and no one complain in the moment that you don't win game. I think that when the rotation is Andrei Santos, Brazil international player, Jorel Lato, Holland international player, Estevao, Brazil international player, it's not about rotation. They are good, they are talent, they are young.
As a player though, did you like it when you were lining up?
I love the rotation as a player.
You what, sorry?
I love rotation as a player.
I don't believe you.
He loves it. Absolutely loves the rotation of the player. Qarabag are a good side, man.
They were very good. I actually covered the game, and Qarabag were worthy winners.
Yeah.
You know, Chelsea got a good foothold in the game earlier on, and you thought this could be an easy victory. But I think the changes, it did make a difference, and it's hard to build relationships up, especially sort of in defence, and then the way that Chelsea play with sort of Cucurella with the inverted sort of fullback, and it just didn't flow in that certain game, and you do need a bit of continuity, and you lose that when you do rotate.
Absolutely. I mean, Rob, I feel like we ask this all the time. What are Chelsea like at the minute? You know, as a
work in
football side,
progress.
That's it. Are they still that work in progress?
Yes, and you're looking at players coming in, and I think he's being kind. I think he's being kind to the likes of Hato, who comes into the side, who's not at the level of a Reece James or a Malagusto right back, and you're looking at left back as Cucurella, and you're saying these guys have got to play in the big games. Those are so important. We've seen it when they did it against Brentford, and it makes 3 changes at half-time. Other games, having to make 3 changes at half-time. Rotation, yeah, or underperforming. There's a real issue there that you're saying, look, we've only got so many players. I'm going to be kind to those players and say they are international. They're not at the level of the others. And that's fine, but just don't expect them to play at the same level.
To team talks now on Saturday at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea versus managerless Wolves. They go into this one with under-21 coach James Collins leading the side. Tricky there because Vitor Pereira went after that game against Fulham. I think a lot of people were expecting that.
Yeah, I think they were. And in some ways, there's an element of, I feel a little bit for him because I think he was working with, truthfully, not enough resources. I think Wolves have, ultimately in the last few years, every window, they lose almost their best players. And it's so difficult to keep up with recruitment. Even if you recruit good players, to replace players that have the experience and quality to play in, come right in and play in Premier League, is hard to find. I've actually been at a few Wolves games, and they do play nice football, but it is a results-based business. I think the fact they're managerless and what's gone on this week, that, the murmurings we've heard from the outside, that seems like it's just been a bit of a mess as well, which doesn't help. Of course, they played in that thriller against Chelsea in the Cup and almost managed to clamber themselves back into that, but I can't see them getting anything at Chelsea.
I think that was part of the problem, wasn't it? They showed fight against Chelsea, they showed fight against Burnley, but then in the Fulham game, there was none of that. That was evident, and Pereira also, had that altercation with the fans, which is very, very different to, him pouring pints in the pub kind of the last season.
Yeah, I mean, last season they didn't have any wins after 10 Premier League matches, and they still stayed up because he saved them. But they didn't have 2 points after 10 games. 2 points out of 30 is just, come on, nobody has ever stayed up with a start like this. So it's a hell of a challenge to whoever comes in. I don't even know where you go because... Like Rach said, and I think that for me, this is the point of all. If you lose Ait Nouri and Cunha, Wolves are not a club that can attract a player of the same quality. This is not what you do because those are world-class players. So you can make them world-class players, but when you sign them, they are not world-class players. So good luck to replacing them with somebody even I don't know, 50% as good as them, because in 2 years' time they might become a level of Cunha and Aït-Nouri, but not now. So the drop of quality in your team when you lose those two is so big that even Strand Larsen is looking like me when he plays, basically. Nowhere near the player that he was last season, for example. And so imagine all the others, which is true. So you could sign whoever you want. It will never be the same than when you lose your two best players. So it was always going to be difficult. Why did they give him a new 3-year deal, Vitor Pereira, 45 days ago when they were already bad?
Yeah.
God knows. But now it's even more difficult.
Yeah. Would you have scored that chance against Fulham that Strand Larsen had? Strand Larsen is looking like me. It's not an attractive job, let's be honest. As you mentioned, nobody's ever stayed up with 2 points after 10 games. And we know from the media point of view, Jules, that, Gary O'Neill was linked with a return 11 months after being fired. And then there's also Rob Edwards, who didn't do his press conference today after being linked.
Yeah, with Middlesbrough, he's doing a great job in the Championship with them. Very much in the playoff position. There's still a long way to go. Obviously, knows the Premier League from Luton. Former player, former coach at the club. So I think Wolves mean a lot to him, which I can understand. But if Middlesbrough don't want to let him go, let's move on to another target, because as a club, you would have a short list with ideally managers with the same profile. So if it's not Rob Edwards, it has to be somebody else. But they are in a situation where they can't waste any time. Already, I think, to be fair, to not have a manager on the bench for this game is bad in itself, because there's just no time to waste, considering the urgency of the situation.
Yeah, they did battle back, as you mentioned, against Chelsea in the Cup to square it at 3-3, but then eventually lost 4-3. But this time around, are you expecting it to be different, given everything that's happened behind the scenes? And what do we expect from Chelsea? Because I think they're also, you're never quite sure what you're going to get from them week to week.
Right, and we know they've made so many changes. They're starting 11, which I think has been a factor to that, on top of the fact another team with a lot of young players. So that sort of consistency is already naturally a question mark. But then if you're constantly in and out the team and you're not quite sure, then it's not always easy for the players. And I think we've not seen the best of Chelsea yet. I think second half of last season and into the summer, we saw them really pick up a bit of momentum, and they really thrived, of course, in the summer of the Club World Cup, which maybe is a little bit of a hangover of why they've been a little slow to build that so far. But I think they've too much quality. And, I saw Chelsea live at Forest. In the first half, they probably made a few changes. Remember, Garnacho was on one side, he ended up coming off at half-time. And they then sort of brought on what you'd consider their core players. Caicedo came on at half-time, a few other changes as well. And it was just, they just had this capacity to step it up. And I think probably after playing Wolves in the Cup, they'll start this game with a lot more intention and intensity to make sure they don't put themselves in a position where they let Wolves have anything and get themselves back in the game should they manage to get the lead.
Those changes you mentioned, it's been a big talking point. I think Enzo Moresca gets asked about it quite a lot, Jules.
Yeah, 85 changes so far this season is a ridiculous amount, really. I think it's 16 more than any other Premier League team, Premier League manager. I think you can do it like they did last season with the Conference League. You can have an A team almost for the Premier League and then a B team for the Conference League. Not in the Champions League. It doesn't, as we saw against Karabakh on Wednesday night, it just doesn't, it can't work. It doesn't happen. And I agree with Rach. You need chemistry, especially in key positions, get used to playing with each other. If you keep chopping and changing, is that what we say in English? Chopping and changing. It's difficult to do that, especially when you're young and you don't have experience. So I don't really understand what Maresca is playing at times. But this is a game you can't get it wrong, because this is 3 points every single day for this Chelsea team. It has to be.
OK, it's time to hear now from the other managers involved in the remaining fixtures of match week 11. Let's whip around the Premier League.
I wouldn't say Fulham were ever really not that stable since they get back into the Premier League, but I think over recent seasons they've actually become a really good side. Fulham, good players. I think they've recruited well over several years. It's not just been a 1 year thing. I think they've been able to do it over time. I think Marco's done a really good job, and continues to do a good job.
When you have good results, you have to build on it, you have to build the confidence. Of course, keep the clean sheet was crucial for us as well. And of course, it's been a good week, very competitive between ourselves. And of course, we hope and we wait for a good answer from ourselves in the game against Everton.
Totally different match, totally different team, good players. Burnley's with Scott, it's been hard. We've been watching how good they've been, so we expect a totally different match.
We're going to be underdogs for a lot this year. and that's just the way it is. And there's certain traits and there's certain habits and certain things that underdogs need, and we've produced that this year really. So of course we, you know, like you say, we're going to an away game here, and it's a tough away game, but it's one that we fully believe we can get a result in.
Iraola, he's always even selling some players. He's building a very competitive team, competing for the top position, European position, and this year they have 18 points, 3 more than us.
We are facing them probably in the best moment of the season, in the sense that after not a very good start, they've gone to the normal, because they've been very good the previous seasons, the 2 seasons.
We promote side to be able to create as many chances like, whatever perhaps Man City does for Erling Haaland. Of course, it's always a bit easier for a striker to play a side who is just dominating game after game, but our strikers are fully aware in which position we are, and for us, we just have one target. And we don't want to win the Gold Boot during the season. We just want to win the Golden Prize for all of us to stay in this league.
And just like that, it's prediction time. We're going to start with you, Rachel, and the early game, Spurs-Man United.
I'm going to say 3-3.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a start. I can't.
Sorry, or both of us were like, what?
Yeah, well, 3-3.
I love it. But
yeah. Okay. Maybe not as many. I go for a draw. I still think there's not much between the two teams on a game like this, so I go 1-1. It's maybe more boring than Rachel.
Everton-Fulham.
Fulham not. I know they won the back of four defeats. I think Everton at home, 2-1 win for Everton.
Yeah, I think Everton will probably sneak this too, but I think maybe just 1-0.
West Ham-Burnley.
This will be an edgy one.
You can watch this one.
I think this will be quite edgy. Maybe 1-0 Burnley.
Ooh.
No, West Ham will do it. 1-0 West Ham.
Oh, opposing sides of the fence here. Sunderland-Arsenal.
That's got 0-0 written all over it.
Really?
But I think Arsenal will find a winner. But just by 1 goal, 1-0 Arsenal. That's it.
2-0 Arsenal.
Okay, Chelsea-Wolves.
I think was
no.
I just think, when you play a team, you've played a team recently, it sort of takes away an edge of it. I think so. I think it'll be straightforward for Chelsea. I think 2-0 Chelsea as well.
3-0 Chelsea.
Aston Villa-Bournemouth.
This is really good. I know we didn't have the time to talk about it, but I think Iraola, the Emery, all that kind of stuff. I think the intensity for Bournemouth would be too much for a Villa team, as we saw making mistakes against Liverpool. So I go 2-0 Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think this will be a good game too. I might go 2-2.
She's not happy.
I love the high-scoring draws that come out of nowhere.
Get goals now.
No, she's not happy with that score against Aston Villa. I saw the side eye.
I know, of course. But you knew before she was already going to go for not a defeat for Aston Villa, whoever they played.
Brentford-Newcastle, what's your prediction?
Brentford have done, I think, a lot better than I thought they would do. Change of manager, a lot of player change as well. But Newcastle, I think, will have the edge on this as well. 2-1 Newcastle.
Newcastle haven't won away from home in the Premier League this season at all. Their away from is terrible, and it will continue 1-1.
Okay, what about the M23 derby, Mateta and
A or
Wolve?
the M? What's the difference between A and M?
It's both A23, M23.
Okay.
I think so. Mateta versus Welbeck, are they both going to score? What is the scoreline going to be?
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about the fitness quickly. For Palace playing Thursday, Sunday, Sunday, a lot of them are playing 90 minutes a lot. Brighton is the party time, all open, let's go for it, let's have fun. So I will go loads of goals, 3-2 Palace.
Because we've begged them up, I'm going to say it'll be 0-0.
Oh my God.
Derby, it's a derby, it'll be edgy. A red card maybe, but no goals.
Can we make notes for next week when we're back on the show?
I've clocked it all, I've written it down,
Okay.
Forest versus Leeds, very quickly, we're running out of time.
2-0 Forest.
1-0 Forest.
And then Man City-Liverpool.
2-2. It's a draw.
1-0 City.
Okay.
Wow.
Haaland to get his 100, 2-2, if you're saying?
Yeah, 100%. Brace. Make sure he's your captain in your fantasy team. I mean, not you, because you didn't have him until, I don't know. Let's not go there, we don't have the time.